Godzilla, King of the Monsters, out in cinemas now, the third film in Warner Bros. Monsterverse, and the previous installments are the 2014 Godzilla and 2017's Kong Skull Island. And a few words about those two. So Godzilla was a rather uneven film. On the one side, it had absolutely striking visuals and sound design, and the actual monster scenes were fantastic. On the other, there were really few of them, and as the movie devoted the majority of its runtime to its human characters, which was widely regarded as a mistake. The human story was boring and unengaging, and it dragged the film down. The titular Godzilla was often shown from a distance, obscured by buildings and such, and made the fans just hungry for more. Then 3 years later we had Kong Skull Island. Now this one was way more fun, although it also had a major story going on for the human characters. This time it was both better written and better acted. Just the fact that we had a more stacked cast this time around made it work. Samuel L. Jackson, Tom Hiddleston, John C. Reilly, and Brie Larson, just to name a couple of the actors. And most importantly, the movie was unafraid to show off its biggest strength, King Kong himself and other giant monsters. There was a lot of them in the film. And although at times their scenes got incredibly silly, it was just a fun enough experience to allow those imperfections. All in all, I was mildly interested in the future of the series until the trailers for King of the Monsters dropped. Because if you haven't seen them, go do it now. I'll put the link in the description of the video, because they themselves are almost a work of art. They don't spoil much of the story, but instead use some incredible shots from the film, coupled with terrific music, Claire de Lune in the first one and a rendition of Over the Rainbow in the second, to tease the movie very effectively. I was sold, and I admit I was hyped. I couldn't wait to see those incredible fights on the big screen. And I have to say, I am a bit underwhelmed now. Once again, the focus of the story is on the human characters, this time a couple of scientists for Monarch, the organization that tracks down these titans, and their daughter. The story is that the father drifted away from the family after the son died in the destruction caused by Godzilla in the previous film. He holds a grudge, the father, not Godzilla, obviously. He holds a grudge against the monsters and would see them dead, if possible. The mother, on the other hand, continues to work for Monarch and tries to wake up the Titans in an attempt to sort of cleanse the earth and reset the natural environment. While it's a decent enough setup for why we suddenly have not just Godzilla, but a total of 17 monsters active and roaming around, I think that too much screen time is once again devoted to it, especially for how poor the writing is. I mean, the dialogue is just poorly written, and a lot of the character motivations and actions just switch around all the time and make no sense at all. Worst of all, this plot is just boring. I mean, I don't care about all those guys on the plane discussing endlessly what to do about the monsters. I just want to see the monsters fight. This is what you promised in the trailers. However, the good news is that when the movie shows us those fights, and not just fights, even just monsters moving around, it is absolutely stunning. I mean, the special effects are terrific, and the cinematography, coupled with great use of music and sound design in terms of the monsters in general, are used, all of them, to great effect to show us the titans in all their glory. The sense of scale, the destruction, the sheer size of them, and the grace with which they move. I mean, it's just breathtaking. My favorite scene of the entire film is the awakening of Rodan, the fiery pterodactyl monster. Some of it is already shown in the trailer, but the movie goes way more into this. The sheer apocalyptic mayhem that he causes by just flapping his giant wings is showed brilliantly. And I think, all in all, it's a decent successor to the previous Godzilla film. Yes, it does commit some of the same sins that the previous one did and suffers from bad writing. But if you can close an eye to this and focus on the stuff that matters, the stuff that needs to work in this type of film, it works really, really well.